There we go. Now we have a mic. Good
We caught
evening,
it early
everyone,
this
and
time.
welcome to episode 21 of Comic Relief, the live weekly talk show for all things comics, their on-screen adaptations, and anything else that makes you want to get nerdy with it. Here on The Box, the live podcast network that brings you the latest and greatest in comic, horror, anime, and music news. If you like what we're about here on The Box, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. And if you'd like to stay up to date with upcoming shows and news, join us on Discord or follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Those links will be in the description box down below. But for now, on with the show. We are your hosts. I am Xandr.
And I'm Jagger, and tonight is our breakdown of the Suicide Squad with our first back-to-back guest, Big Husky.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Back-to-back guest, damn.
Yeah,
back
you're
to
starting to become sort of regular on these shows.
Yeah.
Hey.
We might as well just write you in as a co-host at this
I mean-
point.
I mean,
But
Part-time
anyway,
co-host.
the part-time
anyway,
co-host. Yeah, I'm
First,
fine with that.
the news. We got some news, huh? We got some news.
Yeah, we got
News?
some big news this
Can-
week.
The
can
nerd
actually.
I-
news. The nerd news. The nerd news.
Can I say one that I saw on Twitter today and immediately got excited, was about to send it to both of you, and then I saw it was from Discussing Films, Filns, not Discussing Films. So it like tricked a ton of people, but I saw it and I was like, oh yes.
What is
So so it's not news, it's fake news. But I
Okay.
saw it and I got really excited because it was Taylor Lautner was going to be Tommy Elliott in the Batman movie.
Oh my god.
Oh my
Which
god.
I saw that and I was like, I kind of got a little excited. I was like, all right, let's go. And
Well,
then
the-
as soon as I started looking down the comments and they're like, look at the Twitter account. And then I looked and instead
Oh
of
my
films,
God.
it was FILNS, and I was like, oh.
What?
I mean that's just like the big Spider-Man No Way Home teaser trailer, quote unquote,
Mhm.
was floating
Mhm.
around today, and I was like, I saw clips of it. I'm like, oh my god, they finally gave us a trailer, and some of it looked legit, like when it was filmed in like a crappy angle, and then I saw the actual thing. I'm like, wow, this is a really good fan edit, but Jesus, stop playing with our hearts.
Mm-hmm. Well, or like the fake news about Kevin Feige stating that that they're gonna not even show a Spider-Man trailer, and they're just gonna let everyone just be surprised when the movie comes out.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, that
I'm
pissed me
dying
off.
if that
I
one's
legit
true.
almost deleted Instagram after seeing that.
I'm gonna die
What?
if that one's true, though.
But now the actual nerd news. We got some actual nerd news. First up, we got Knuckles making his way into Sonic the Hedgehog sequel. We've already seen a set photo of like a placeholder for Knuckles, but we finally have a confirmation on who will be playing the voice of Knuckles, and is none other than Idris Elba. I'm kind of excited for that.
Very happy about that one, actually, because I can just imagine him with his accent. Just, oh my god, Knuckles is gonna be
Yeah.
so great. He's gonna be such a
Yeah.
sass bucket. I'm gonna love it.
Oh man, he's
Is-
gonna be badass too.
Yeah.
Now, because we are in 2022, whatever year it is.
21.
Yeah, that thing.
He's in the future. He's in the future.
You
guys.
napped for a whole year?
It feels like it, bro. Are we gonna get Do You Know the Way in the movie
Oh my god.
from Idris Elba as
Probably.
Knuckles? Because let's be honest here, it wouldn't surprise me, and I would love it.
Oh, that'd
Yeah,
be
I
hilarious.
mean,
honestly.
As much of a meme lord as Idris Elba is, I'm sure he will. Or he'll try and like lobby for it, I'm sure.
Yeah, just like a throwaway line where like if you're not really paying attention, you wouldn't even notice this thing. You're like, "Do you
Right.
even know the way. Like-
Right. Everyone in the audience just be like, oh, he said it. He fucking said it.
Yeah, we're all Leonardo DiCaprio. Like, "Ah, there it is.
There it is. In other news, director Daniel Espinosa, the director of Morbius, let slip that there may be a Tom Hardy cameo, saying when you look at the schedule and read names like Michael Keaton, Jared Leto, Tom Hardy, then it feels cool and very exciting. So there's rumors that there's going to be some big cameos coming our way
That'd be nice.
in the Morbius film.
I wonder to what extent that would be though. Is it going to be kind of like the similar kind of like throwaway scene where we saw Michael Keaton in the first Morbius trailer, where it's just like, oh hey, by the way, he exists in this universe.
I think
It's gonna be
honestly, the way I've been looking at it is like they've been trying to tease this multiverse thing going on. Since Spider-Man's been kind of the center of the whole multiverse talk for a good while, it seems that they're using the Spider-Man villains as sort of the focal point. Like if they keep popping up here and there, the multiverse is legitimately a thing. So why not keep using them? As in, like,
Right.
have Michael Keaton's Vulture be in Morbius, and have Tom Hardy as Venom appear in this universe as well.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because isn't there in the background of one of the shots, is it Garfield's? No, it's not Garfield's. Maguire's
Maguire.
Spider-Man, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Maguire's Spider-Man is on like a poster.
Yeah.
Because I remember seeing that and I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. And then you see Vulture, hey, what's up, Doc? And it's like, wait a minute, time out.
Yeah.
And then another thing that I noticed was like both in the Venom or the new Venom trailers and in, I believe there's bits and pieces in Morbius. They might have been set photos, but they have the Daily Bugle logo, but it's the old Sam Raimi Daily Bugle logo.
Yeah, that was in the Venom trailer where he's raiding the Daily Bugle, and then they have a shot of the old school Sam Raimi Daily Bugle when Cletus Cassidy kills the spider on the newspaper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this might actually, in fact, kind of you might be right where it's gonna kind of happen after the events of, Spider-Man No Way Home, where the multiverse has been completely shaken up. So yeah, that might be accurate. In more Marvel news, we have Marvel Studios stating that a previous What If concept for Spider-Man was dropped for being too dark. The concept would have focused on Man-Spider. My fellow 90s kids might actually remember this as the story in which the radioactive spider DNA became too strong for Peter Parker's body to handle, transforming him into a monstrous man-spider hybrid. This concept was, quote, too dark and too much body horror for their PG-13 format. I agree wholeheartly.
I'm upset.
I'm not too upset about that because I don't know. Even the 90s cartoon rubbed me the wrong way. That like.
You mean you don't want to see Peter? You don't want to see Peter Parker grow 8 arms? Like, come on.
No.
If
I chalk it up to, like, you guys remember? Did you guys ever watch Black Mirror?
Yeah.
Do you remember the episode, the video game episode, and then there was like that kind of like man-spider hybrid thing?
Mm-hmm.
The one with Wyatt Russell. That freaked me the fuck out.
It's meant to.
I fucking hated it.
I think it'd be a good change of pace to see Marvel go on the darker side of things for a change.
It would be. They're definitely kind of sort of moving in that direction, but not really.
Well, they're trying to, but they're trying to stay family friendly so they can still sell toys. But what they don't realize is that grown-ass adults like me like to buy horrific-looking toys. If they made a man-spider toy, I'd have that shit on my shelf in a heartbeat.
Man-spider toy, Spider-Pig toy.
Spider-Pig. Hell yeah.
Well, I think that actually might also be why they've reached this agreement with Sony, so that maybe they can eventually pull Spider-Man into more of the Sonyverse stuff, which is inherently darker. Obviously, seeing the Let There Be Carnage trailer.
And Morbius.
Yeah, and Morbius. So, who knows? See what we got next.
I don't know. Next, we've got a lot of MCU rumors are surfacing, suggesting that Marvel's looking to bring in some other characters that they've previously used, such as Ghost Rider, Werewolf by Night, and a leaked audition video of a potential actor, Julian DeBaker, gunning for the role of Speed in his young adult years. We last saw Speed in WandaVision as a child, played by Jeff Kline. The rumors that I keep seeing are that the actor who played Ghost Rider in the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show is supposedly set to return as Ghost Rider. I don't know whether it's a cameo appearance or if he's going to get his own spin-off thing going on or what, but
yeah, I don't know about that. I also read somewhere that Kevin Feige has been fighting to have Johnny Blaze as Ghost Rider.
There's only one Ghost Rider, and that's Johnny Blaze.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
I wasn't really a huge fan of the new Ghost Rider, personally. I didn't really like the character design too much. It felt like it felt almost like a Bionicle with a leather jacket on fire.
I wasn't the only one. Okay.
I watched a little bit of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and then there was like 2 of them where it was like you had to watch the movie to understand what was going on, and I didn't watch the movie, so I didn't understand what was going on. But like as soon as I saw, because that isn't Johnny Blaze, right?
No, it was a different one. I can't remember his name.
Like I remember seeing him, and I was like, "That's cool looking," but that's not my Ghost Rider.
Yeah, my Ghost Rider is definitely going to be Johnny Blaze, played by none other than Keanu Reeves. Or Norman Reedus.
Roberto Reyes is his name in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah. Roberto Reyes.
Or Nicolas
Roddy
Cage.
Reyes. You want Nick Cage to come back?
Yes, I do.
Like an aged Nick Cage now?
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Like bring in like a seasoned Ghost Rider, like make his old movies canon, and like he's been Ghost Rider this entire time in the MCU, and it just kind of shows up as like, you guys suck, you know that? Like, just have him have. He's seen some shit at this point.
In Nick Cage's voice too.
Come on,
But, like,
guys.
You guys suck. You know that.
You guys suck. Come on.
You'd have to re-show them the movies though and be like, okay, we want more like this one, and show them the first movie, and go and less like this one, and then show him the second movie, just to refresh him.
You mean where he's peeing fire off the side of a truck? Yeah, we'd want less of that.
Yeah.
Like the second one, he went so over the top for it. It was beautiful to see.
Oh, yeah.
But at the same time, though, it was not.
I also have
Nicolas
a theory about
Cage,
that because that was like at the peak of like 3D movie hype. So
Yeah,
they
true.
were trying to go like all out with that bullshit. I loved the first one. Like I really actually enjoyed the first one.
Yeah.
Because I remember I think right around then we were going to visit family in Thailand, and like I literally watched it on the plane the entire fucking ride, like over and over and over again. But yeah, I definitely want Johnny Blaze to come back. The Werewolf by Night one is interesting because I heard that was going to be teased in Moon Knight.
Makes sense.
Yeah, because I mean he deals with a lot of, like, you know, we've already got mention of vampires now, so.
Well, there's rumors that the actual villain of the Moon Knight series is going to be Dracula himself.
That would be pretty cool, honestly.
Because funny enough, Moon Knight's main antagonist, and he's not really an antagonist, has been Dracula, and the whole sole purpose is because Dracula owes him money. Yes, Dracula borrowed money from
I
Moon
want to
Knight.
see that play out with Oscar Isaac.
It's
that gives me such good vibes of like Santa's sleigh, where like the devil loses a curling match to an angel and has to be good for like a millennia. Like that's exactly what that just makes me think of.
Yeah.
Love it. I love it.
All right, and our last bit of news before we get into Suicide Squad. Matt Reeves' The Batman spin-off series for HBO Max has been given the working title Arkham, according to Illuminati. And I posed the question, could this be the next Gotham series, where we have a series that focuses on the villains more so? I wanted to get Husky's thoughts on this as well.
Gotham left a bad taste in my mouth simply because the developers originally said, we're going to show some Batman stuff, we're going to show Bruce, we're going to, but it's mainly going to be Gotham PD and like kind of how the baddies became the baddies, right?
Right.
And it, like, as the series went on, it really did feel like it was just more of Bruce and then a couple of the main baddies, and then they'd throw a couple in there every now and then they would completely ruin some, and like the Grundy left a bad taste in my mouth, but I think almost every version of the Grundy has basically left a bad taste in my mouth, honestly.
Yeah.
But like there was like, so when I heard this, and I heard it's based in Reeves' universe, it's going to bring over, I can't think of his name now, but who's playing Gordon?
Jeffrey Wright.
Yeah, he's
Jeremy
coming
Wright.
over.
Jeremy Wright.
He's gonna be like the main guy. As soon as I started hearing some of these things, then I was like, okay, now I'm feeling a little bit better. But that's all I've really heard. So I mean, I would find it cool if they did it so it's like it's Gotham PD working over some, like, get some lower level, like a Victor Zsasz storyline and make it, if it's gonna be on HBO Max and it's gonna be in that universe, from the way that it looks, it's gonna be a little bit dark, it's gonna be a little bit realistic, so if you bring in someone like Zsasz, you can make that a kind of a terrifying slasher series almost, right? And like do certain villains like that, and just kind of have each season be like, kind of almost like the detective season, of like the Gotham PD trying to figure shit out because Bruce is off fucking with Riddler, or Bruce is off dealing with, this guy, or, but meanwhile, while he's doing that though, Zsasz is doing all this stuff for, of course, I'm just saying Zsasz because that's the main one I can think of off the top of my head that I think would be kind of cool to see in a darker, like a little bit of a darker image than we've gotten. I really liked
Yeah.
the version we got in Birds of Prey. I thought that was kind of a weird, tickish kind of,
Mhm.
you know, he was sadistic and liked it sort of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's my my 2 cents on the whole thing.
So my
I like that
issue,
idea.
I like the idea, but the sad thing is I don't think they're gonna do that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It sucks because calling it Arkham, they're immediately gonna like make Arkham the main focal point. Like it's gonna be focused on the villains, but it's gonna be a lot of like how they started, how they got there. It's probably gonna have to tie in Batman a lot, or they're gonna try and shift the focus onto somebody smaller in the Bat family, like Nightwing, because they've learned over time, like, and they did the same thing with Gotham, where they were like, fans aren't responding well to the outside influences of Batman. They just want Batman.
Right.
Because what I call basic fans, where they're like, "Ooh, I like Batman," but haven't read a comic a day in their life. They just enjoy Batman because it's Batman.
I like George
Um,
Clooney's Batman.
Yeah, and then Val Kilmer. No, they don't care about anything else. They just want Batman on screen. Because these are the same people that praise the Nolan trilogy as the best Batman films, when in actuality they're the fucking worst. But that's just my hot take on it.
I'll take double.
Yep.
So sadly, they're gonna have to either give us a main Bat family character or give us Batman, because otherwise they're gonna feel like the show is flopping because people aren't liking it, except for the comic fans that actually give a shit about the villains more than they care about Batman. The reason I like Batman comics so much is because Batman has some of the best villains.
Oh yeah, his rogues gallery is like top notch.
Absolutely. Like
I-
most other places don't even compare. Most other storylines don't compare to what Batman has as far as villains.
And I agree. I do believe they will probably bring in someone in the Bat family. I think that will also be the downfall of the Reeves-verse, though, if they do that.
Yeah.
Because I feel like if you're going to do that, you need to build that character up in that universe. And so far from what we've seen of that universe, it feels like a Batman. Like, it doesn't feel like a very... let me rephrase it. It feels like an earlier Batman, but not like a very beginning Batman like Nolan's was. So it'll be interesting to see exactly what kind of timeline we have for that Batman. But yeah, no, I agree though. I can see you going something like that. It's God damn it.
Yeah, building off of Husky's idea, I really like the idea of potentially having like one full season focused on like one villain, essentially, and like building them up, and then eventually like they can trickle into like the next Batman movie.
Well, and that's the thing, right? Like if you get a big enough actor who can do a show, who can hold his own in a movie, you know, it doesn't have to be like the top name star, but if you get like some young up and comer guy who was like, okay, look, you're going to be the main villain of this season, and for the rest of the Reeves-verse, you're that villain.
Yep.
So if he wants to use you, even if it's just a background thing, if it's just like a quick 10-minute thing in the movie, like you're there, you're already there. Like that's it.
Yeah.
You know, it would be easy, it'd be simple, but that's not what Warner Brothers does. So who the fuck knows what's gonna happen?
So now, question for you, Husky, before we get into Suicide Squad. If
Yep.
you were to cast somebody to play Victor Zsasz, who would you pick?
Oh, you know what? I'm no, I'm not gonna say that one. Oh, put me on the spot right now.
Yeah. Think on your feet, bud.
You know who I'd like to see simply because I really liked him in the Arrowverse? It's the guy who played Prometheus.
Okay.
Joshua. It was a Joshua Segura?
Hang
Joshua
on.
Segura? But
That sounds right.
he played Prometheus, and I loved the character of Prometheus to the point that when he died in the show, I was actually upset. Like,
Really?
the season finale of Arrow Season 5 is arguably one of the best season finales in the entire Arrowverse. But, like, just some of the small things they did, but the fact that they killed him off really upset me because, in my opinion, he was as strong of a character as an actor as Manu Bennett's Deathstroke was. And he brought a lot of force to a villain that Arrow hadn't seen since Deathstroke. So when they killed him off, I felt like it was a missed opportunity to have kind of almost like a Deathstroke or a 2-season villain, which arguably they could have easily have done in that final season. Or in that season 5. They could have done a season 5, and then, oh, guess what? He actually made it off the island, and the island's destroyed, but he made it off, and, now he's still the villain in season 6. And it wouldn't have felt weird and forced like it did when they used, I can't remember who the hell the next villain was, because the next villain was it was down for me.
That was Dragon.
Yeah, there we go, him. And, they did him for 2 seasons, and it was a waste of 2 seasons, So, I as an actor standpoint, I would love to see what he would do with it.
So since you posed the question, Jagger, who would you pick?
Oh God, I don't know.
Yeah, you put our guest on the spot. I'm gonna put you on the spot now.
Look, it's our show. I'm allowed to do it. Okay.
I would say almost tailored.
We are an equal opportunity hotspot putter. That's
you know what? Then I'm gonna do this. Xander, who are you picking?
Yeah.
Oh, I already
Xander,
know.
Who are you picking?
Tomer Capone, who plays Frenchie in The Boys.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
boom.
Okay.
While Husky was rambling on about his choice, I went ahead and did a little research real quick. Let's go.
That's pretty good.
So while I was giving my explanation, you were just going, yeah, yeah.
No, I was still listening. I was just trying to remember the guy's name because I had him in mind. I was like, oh, he would be good. So
that would be a good one.
I have a picture of somebody in my head, and I can't remember their name for the life of me.
Do you know
he's
the
most
show
likely
or
bald,
movie
or could pull off.
I also don't remember where I saw them from. I just see them in my head, and I'm trying to scrambling through IMDb to see if I catch a look at them.
I hate when that happens.
Yeah. Especially when you can't remember any movies or anything like that.
Oh, I can remember movies, no problem. It's just I'm trying to remember.
We'll rattle off some movies. Maybe we can help you.
No, it's not a movie. It's not a movie.
Oh, is it a show?
It's a show.
Oh, that's even worse then.
Oh god, that's gonna be.
I was gonna say here. Why don't we pin it, Jagger? Keep running it through the back of your mind, and then let's go on. And as soon as you get it, then we come back.
Yep, I'm just gonna shout.
He's just gonna shout it.
Yeah, just out of nowhere.
Middle of Suicide Squad, just like this person.
I was gonna say that. But anyway, let's move on to the main meat and potatoes of tonight's episode. The Suicide Squad just came out. It is a movie. I would say it's an enjoyable movie, but we're gonna get into it. And so right now, if you're watching and you haven't seen it, this is your spoiler alert. If you don't want any spoilers, please back out now. That is the one and final warning. But here we go. We got a brief summary from Warner Brothers themselves. Supervillains Harley Quinn, Bloodsport, Peacemaker, and a collection of nutty convicts at Belrev Prison join the super secret, super shady Task Force X as they are dropped off at the remote enemy-infused island of Corto Maltese. That is our little brief discussion. Thank you, Warner Brothers. Thank you for that. That was very vague. So yeah, basically that's the movie. You got a bunch of supervillains that are on a mission, and shit hits the fan. I want to know, what were your guys' initial thoughts going into the movie?
I'll let you go ahead, Husky.
Going in, I was very uncertain because everything. Okay, so DC's been a fucking mess. We can all agree on that, right? Because of Warner Brothers and their actions and the way they've done things, DC has been a mess. And when this movie came out, it's like, okay, new Suicide Squad movie, great. Okay, James Gunn is doing it. Okay, let's rock and roll. And then it's like, okay, they're trying to get Deadshot. They can't get Deadshot. We're going to get Idris Elba. Idris Elba's going to be Deadshot. No, he's not. Yes, he is. No, he's not. Yes, he is. This isn't in the DC universe. It is. It's a reboot. It isn't. It's a remake. It isn't. And then it's just going on and on and on. It's the Superman that we get isn't our Superman, but it is Superman, but it isn't Superman. We're just going to say it's Superman, but we're not going to say which Superman because it's just Superman. And it's just like, so going into it, I was very much just, it was just almost like a confusion for me as a DC fan. Because it's like, what is going on and what isn't going on. But overall, I was excited because it is another DC movie. And no matter what, I'm excited for DC movies. But there was that era of caution in the back of my head where it's like, okay, are they, like, how much more are they going to kind of continue to just fuck with this timeline that's already fucked that we have?
Right. Husky, what about you?
That was Husky.
I just said that. So.
Oh yeah, Jagger. Sorry, Beards.
Forgot my name. Wow.
Beards, man.
Wow.
Hey,
did you see it,
listen.
huh?
I was
Beard,
giving you
huh?
shit about being tired earlier. Okay, I'm tired too.
Look, Husky and I are gonna start our own show. It's gonna be called The Beards.
You
Beards
know what?
hat.
I support
The
it.
Beards.
I
This
told you
week-
from the
this-
very beginning that I would support you no matter what. Okay.
I know. I know.
This is the Beard podcast. First episode is with Xandr. He doesn't have a beard. We're gonna pick on him for not having a beard.
Actually, now that now thanks to COVID, now that we have to wear masks everywhere again, at all times, I might just grow this bitch out.
I heard
Do it.
might. You
Do
won't.
it.
You won't.
Do it. Okay, so so I'm gonna. It's gonna be funny because I already know how this conversation is gonna go, because me and Husky went into this with very different expectations. He was excited. I went in with the lowest expectations possible because of how big the cast was, because I don't entirely trust James Gunn as a director. He seems a little too chaotic. Not like the controlled chaotic like Taika Waititi. James Gunn kind of just is just like, hey, I have a budget. Here, I'm just gonna go fucking splurge it just everywhere. He just throws his shit everywhere and does what he wants. Like he says, studio be damned, fans be damned. I'm gonna do whatever I want because that's what I do. He did it with Guardians of the Galaxy and it stuck. Cool. He did it again, but bigger with Guardians 2, and it kind of stuck. Now he's coming over to DC. He's dealing with characters that were already established. It's being handled more like a comic book would be, where you can get an entire comic book storyline that doesn't reference anything else, but it doesn't discount anything else that's already happened. So like past storylines for certain characters, like say you get a Harley Quinn reboot comic, it doesn't discount the things that happened in the other Harley Quinn comics has not happened, but this stuff did happen. It may or may not get referenced again later. Who knows? Comics are chaotic like that. You could have an amazing story that runs for 10 issues and it never gets referenced again. Like in the entire history of the character. So like, I kind of went into this because knowing the expectations I had for the original Suicide Squad and knowing how disappointed I was, I went in with the lowest expectations possible so that I wouldn't be upset. And boy, was I proven wrong.
I was gonna say, your viewpoint worked better than mine.
Yeah, so I went in with low expectations and I thoroughly enjoyed the movie. Do I think it's the greatest movie ever, like everyone's exclaiming? No, absolutely not. James Gunn did what James Gunn does. He threw shit at the wall. Some of it stuck, some of it didn't. And I don't know. Like, all in all, it's a fun ride. Does it make any sense? Absolutely the fuck not.
So that's why I wanted to have you guys speak on it first, because I know that you guys actually had expectations. Me being the Marvel fanboy of the group, I had no expectations whatsoever. I was just like, oh, all right, Idris Elba looks cool, dope. Let's check it out.
That sounds about right.
I was gonna say,
yeah, but I actually enjoyed it. Moving into our thoughts on the movie, having seen it, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I mean, I don't really have any emotional connections to any characters in well, except for one throughout the movie. But I never really attached myself to any of the characters. It was just like, okay, this is a really good movie. The one character that was a standout to me was actually Polka Dot Man. I really enjoyed what they did with his character, considering James Gunn went on record saying the reason that he chose Polka Dot Man to be in the movie was because that was literally one of the first ones that came up when he searched up what like the dumbest DC characters.
Stuff like that is the stuff that kind of pissed me off though a little bit with certain things with this movie. Like that sort of stuff, because it's just it's like, I get that like Polka Dot Man's one of those ones that's always been made fun of. Same with Condiment King, same with all these different things, right? Like Crazy Quilt, yeah, So like when he openly says, "Oh, the reason why I picked this character was because I looked up online, you know, I looked up online that he's the dumbest character, so I want to use him." Like that shit kind of like, to me it makes it sound like it's like he didn't have a plan for the movie. He was just, yeah, you know, like, yeah, sure, let's just look up the dumbest fucking characters, let's look up the ones that look cool and let's use them, you know, like that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Although
I can kind of see that being like a sore spot.
I mean, no,
for
I mean,
DC
like, I will
fans.
agree. I mean, Polka Dot Man is one of the dumbest characters that DC
he
has.
is, but you got to think
But
he took one of the dumbest characters and made him kind of relatable. The casting was phenomenal. Like
Yes.
David Dastmalchian as Polka Dot Man was like totally.
I've seen one online. I've seen one online recently that said that because of them constantly saying about how, like, there was, you know, like they did, and this is one of the things that I don't know if we're getting into actual like stuff in the movie now or not, but
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
One of the things-
spoiler alerts in
spoiler
effect were good.
one of the things I said to Xander was that, like, there was some scenes where they held something too long for me.
Yeah.
And one of them was the backstory for Polka Dot Man. At the very end of it, when he's like, "My mother's everywhere," they held on the scene of everyone being his mother for too long, from my take. It turned it from like a very kind of like tragic fucking story that, like, and I was like, okay, cool, yep, to like, okay, that's kind of fucking weird that everyone's his mom, to like, okay, now this is just.
I think like
weird
right
anymore.
until the point where it shows like King Shark as his mom, like waving off a fly or something like that.
Mhm.
At that point was where it should have cut off. Like,
Yeah.
But-
like it was just
So-
a tad too long. I was like,
So the thing that I saw
Yeah.
though was saying that Polka Dot Man says about like how like some of the experiments worked and some of them didn't. So they're saying that in the future movies we should see the other ones that did work, and that should be Condiment King, that should be Onomatopoeia,
Yeah.
and then there was one other one. I forgot what the third brother was. But like basically, like you were saying, like, you know, it's like that's a setup already to kind of introduce these characters
yeah.
that are the kind of the jokes and the laughing stocks that, you know, we can turn into, because they did a fantastic job turning Polka Dot Man into, like, because in my mind I see this movie and I go, okay, this is a DCU movie. DCU movie means it has Batfleck in it. I can see that Polka Dot Man fighting Batfleck and see that actually being a struggle for Batman.
Yeah, that's fair. That's 100%
You know,
fair.
and that's always the thing with villains that I think you have to maintain is, can that villain handle the versions that there are in that universe? Because I've said it before and I'll say it a million times. Batfleck versus Ledger's Joker Batman's gonna beat the fuck out of him, and then Leto's Joker versus Bale's Batman. Like it's
Yeah,
Bale's Batman dies.
like it's like, you know, like, so within the universe you have to have these characters that actually work with each other. So when I saw Polka Dot Man in the trailers and everything, I'm like, he looks goofy, he looks weird, but he looks realistic.
Yeah.
Like everything about this character, the suit, everything looks real. And then when you see it in the movie and you're like, oh, that's what he does.
Yeah.
It's fucking weird, but it works, you know?
It
I mean,
works for
John
that
Cena
character.
said it best. He throws. Let me guess. Does he throw polka dots at people? He says jokingly. Wait, he throws polka dots. He does throw polka dots at
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, right, exactly. So okay, so like my overall thoughts and going but building off of what you just said, like having to make sure these characters are like believable in their rightful universe.
Yeah.
I think nearly every single character they included, minus a few that they threw away at the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
fit
Yes.
100%.
I will agree wholeheartedly with that.
Because I can 100% see Ezra Miller's Flash fighting a very hungry King Shark.
Yeah, I can see that. I will
Yeah.
say this though, that I will never forget James Gunn for killing Boomer.
Yeah, I was gonna
I'm just gonna
say
throw that out
I
there
wanted
right
to touch on that opening scene. So
Yeah.
remember, guys, spoiler alert is still in effect. They kill off pretty much the entire first team of villains right there in
It
the
was-
beginning. Like
It was
Mongal, Captain Boomerang. I watched it a second time, and TDK is actually in critical condition.
Yeah.
But Javelin, Blackguard,
like
Dunzo.
I was upset they killed off Blackguard because his character in the comics is so complex, and they used him as a way to just bring in Pete Davidson. I feel like, so I'm a little critical about that one because Blackguard has some really big ties to Argus later on, and
I liked the idea of that being Team B.
Yeah.
Because that is very much a Waller thing. And if you think about it, in the first movie, they're setting up the Suicide Squad. Right? It's a brand new thing. So she's now used to this shit. We don't know how many fucking missions there's been in between these two movies.
Yeah.
Right?
But I mean, by the way, Harley and Rick Flag behave with each other, and Boomer.
Yeah, Boomer. Yeah. Harles, what are you doing
basically-
back here? The fact that they call each other Harles and Boom, like that, like as soon as I heard that, I'm like, these.
They've done this.
Perfect. Like.
They've done
Yes,
these a couple times before.
It's perfect. It works. These two characters are great, and then they kill fucking Boomerang, and James is gonna go to hell for that.
Yeah.
Never gonna forget it.
Yeah, especially like seeing like kind of him
It's
in
just-
action
it's-
a little bit more this time around with his boomerang and stuff like that. I was like, oh man, that would be so cool to see like him up against Ezra Miller's Flash. You know,
That's the thing. It's like that's a like in my opinion, that's one of the big Flash villains outside of the speedsters, mind you, because let's be honest, the speedsters are the main ones. But outside of the speedsters, and when you go straight to the rogues, right? You think of Captain Cold, Heatwave, Boomer.
Yep.
You know, so the fact that they killed him off, and it's Jai Courtney, so it's a big name that you can draw from. He does a great job with that role. You know, just I don't know. I think it was a waste. I think
they could save it. They could technically save it. I mean,
so let me interject here for this one.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think James Gunn is able to get away with doing what he wants because he never said where this fits in the timeline. So we could easily and like you just mentioned Flashpoint, that can change a whole lot of things. That could basically say like yeah, those events happened, but they happened differently. These guys didn't actually die. Boomer's still alive. He's still a Flash villain. That kind of deal. We could also get like this is all stuff that happens later down the road because a lot of the characters in here are so they're grizzled, they're like seasoned, like they've been doing this shit for a while. I mean, like Weasel has seen some shit, okay? that is a well-known fact.
Yeah.
You can see it in his beady little eyes.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, so my wife is a huge fan of Gilmore Girls, and if you guys know anything about that, Sean Gunn was a main character in Gilmore Girls. So when I mentioned to her that Sean Gunn was the mocap for Weasel, she's like, "Oh, yep, I can easily see." Like just like even the post credits or the mid credits scene where Weasel lived, by the way, guys. Where he just like gets up and just kind of like scurries on up.
He was also
the entire
Calendar
time.
Man,
I'm just
by the way.
imagining Sean Gunn in that mocap suit.
Yeah, it's true. God. But like going off of the timeline vein, I think Sean Gunn had a plan but didn't have a plan at the same time. Like he knew that if he put where this was in the timeline, is it before or after Birds of Prey? Is it before? We know it's after the original Suicide Squad. We don't want to say that it's a direct sequel because then it puts it in a certain timeline.
Yeah. We can kind of know. We can kind of know that it's a little bit after Birds of Prey because Harley has the jacket on that says "Live fast, die clown."
Yeah.
And she makes a lot of references to like "fuck the Joker," you know, basically "fuck the Joker," you know. So like, it's
and her back tattoo has changed.
The back tattoo's changed. She doesn't have rotten on her face anymore.
Yeah. So like we know it's farther down the timeline. We just don't know how far down the timeline. So like we could legitimately have other events where it's like, okay, here's the Flash movie. Jai Courtney's Boomerang is in it because the Flash movie takes place before the Suicide Squad. So
it's like that's the thing. I mean that's the thing is like it's just like I feel bad for him because Warner Brothers hasn't been so, you know, like boom, this is what it is. You know, so I feel bad because like he's put like after thinking about it more and more, it's a good movie. There are things I'll change. There are things I didn't like, but like I feel bad because like he got put in a really weird spot because it's like what we've been saying this whole time. We kind of don't know where this fits.
Yeah.
Is this, is this right before Flashpoint? Is this after Flashpoint? Is this even in our universe? Is this just a different universe but with the same characters? Because as we know, with the multiverse thing, most of the characters kind of look the same, or are the same. Like it's just like a bunch of different shit that's going on with it. So I mean, like I do feel bad for him for that, but still, that doesn't make me forget that he killed Captain Boomerang.
And who knows? I mean, this could be one of those deals where they're going back to the old ways that they did movies, where they just made movies to make movies. They didn't have to connect. I mean, you can have the same characters in multiple movies, and the movies don't have to be connected.
And why have to kill Boomer though? Because
my biggest gripe with that whole first scene was the lack of use of Nathan Fillion. Like, come on, man! What a disrespect to a national treasure. And just okay, he's TDK, the detachable kid,
completely
and
made
he
up.
sends his arms out into battle to do what? Bitch slap people.
Yeah, I honestly think the movie would have been that opening scene would have been 1,000 times better if Nathan Fillion wasn't even in it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I saw an interview where he was talking about how him and James Gunn made up this character for him to play because James Gunn couldn't think of a good character that Nathan Fillion could play. And Nathan was just like, I mean, I could think of a ton. He started rattling off names of people that he wanted to play. And like, I was like, that would have been good. That would have been great. That could have fit.
I mean, I was gonna say,
know what the names are now, but
I don't remember if it was on here, if it was on my podcast, but or not. But like, I said at one point, him and Alan Tudyk as Booster Gold and Blue Beetle.
Yep, that was here last week.
Was all here? Okay, I wasn't sure if it was here last week or if it was like on my one last week. But still, like it's like So and also the fact of that they had to make up a character, TDK, the detachable kid. When we have arm fall off boy or something like that.
Yeah,
like that character exists.
Just pony up and give me Multiple Man. Make him a more stable character. Make Nathan Fillion Multiple Man and just get over it. Like.
Like,
good.
I just
we can all be honest here and just say that as soon as they announced Mongol Savant, Javelin, Blackguard, TDK, Weasel, like all these characters, we knew that when he's like, oh yeah, multiple people die and no one's safe, we all were like, none of them are safe. They're all gonna die.
Yeah.
Like
the
it was
only
almost
ones out of the initial announcement for the Suicide Squad, the only ones that were safe that they showcased were Bloodsport and who's the other one? No,
Ratcatcher.
Ratcatcher 2.
I would still even say Harley because it's too big of a draw.
Yeah, and Rick Flag. Rick Flag has a big draw too.
Which that one pissed me off because that.
Yeah. By the way, guys, Rick Flag's dead.
Yeah. Kind of a big deal.
That was.
Like
honestly,
I said, there's stuff that I liked, and then like I said, there's like we're going over the stuff that I didn't like,
Yeah.
But like it's just it felt like the whole he was given the reins. Warner Brothers said you can kill whoever you want. It's R-rated, be as vulgar as you want. Like there's a level of doing that to where it's like, okay, now like this is okay, and then there's a level of doing that just because you can fucking do it, and it feels like he just did it just because he could do it, sort of thing. Like there's no reason why so many of these characters had to die, and there's no reason why the gore and the violence and the way that it, like some of the times where like how far it went had to go that far. And it really did feel like a lot of times it was like that just because he had the power to do it. No one's gonna say no to him.
But I mean, they definitely said no to Zack Snyder.
They said no to David Ayers too. I mean,
what the fuck happened with that? Like, what? Why give James Gunn like full control, but deny David Ayer and Zack Snyder?
It doesn't. No idea. I wish I could give a very good answer to that, but I can't because it's just other than Warner Brothers themselves, I don't think anyone can because it makes zero sense. The only thing is that the studio didn't like the way things were going because of the box office and because of the critics, and they forcefully wanted to change things. And as we know, Zach and David Ayers are both directors who are very much. This is my craft. This is my vision. Why are you fucking with this?
Which is interesting. Interestingly enough, Zack Snyder was an executive producer on this.
Which is very interesting.
And they even credit David Ayer as well.
Yeah, that was one. That's the thing. James Gunn and David Ayer are fine. Like there's no problem between the directors. It's mainly just with Warner Brothers. It feels like.
I don't know.
Which is the weirder thing.
I'm at the point now where I'm trying to say this in the least bluntly possible. I'm fucking sick of it.
Yeah, no. I mean,
we all know Warner Brothers is a bad studio. We all know they fucked up. I'm sick of hearing Zack Snyder this, David Ayer that. Warner Brothers screwed the pooch. We know that. We got Zack Snyder's Justice League. Cool. Great. It was fantastic. Loved it. They're not going to release David Ayer's cut of the Suicide Squad because they released this version of the Suicide Squad with James Gunn. And now they're trying to get Taika Waititi to start directing movies over at DC because they want things to be quirky and fun, like the quirky fun side of Marvel. They think they can make edgy, quirky fun like sort of like Deadpool.
Do you think that's why? Do you think that's why they had Taika Waititi show up in this movie?
Yes, absolutely. It's 100% why.
I feel like it's such the wrong move.
It's weird because like you have the entirety of the internet and the entirety of the fan base that is so dead set focused on Zack Snyder and David Ayer and how they were wrong, but they're not looking at what Warner Brothers is currently doing. They're pouring all of their attention now into like people like Matt Reeves with his The Batman, which is dark. I mean, really dark. I'm talking like sitting in your bedroom in 7th grade listening to MCR dark.
Yeah, I can't wait to see the because I don't think the people truly understand how dark that's gonna be, and I can't wait to see the fucking brains on people explode when it's like, you thought Batfleck was dark, like.
Oh
right.
Yeah, no, like,
I mean,
the overall vibe. It makes me so excited.
Reeves literally compared his version of the Riddler to the Zodiac Killer.
Yeah, like it's
like, come on.
So
you can't get much darker than that.
So I would say my biggest thing, because I do want Ayer's cut of the Studio Squad, as I've recently found out it's being called online. Didn't know it, love it. Apparently,
I think it's rehashing old dead shit that just needs to stay dead. Honestly.
Well, that's the thing, right? So, but why though? This is the director's vision. This is what it was supposed to be. It's going to make Warner Brothers money, just like Justice League made Warner Brothers money. Justice League Snyder Cut, they're still using in all of their promotion. We still don't have the numbers for it yet. They gave the numbers for this Suicide Squad movie 3 days after it released. We don't have the numbers for the Snyder Cut.
Yeah.
So this is the reason why kind of the Snyder fans and like this it's such a loud voice, is because it, like, what they're doing, one, is just bullshit, but two, why not release the numbers for the Snyder Cut?
Because no one actually,
they don't want to admit they were
wrong.
No.
Well, that's the thing. You can't say no one wants to know, because people do. Why release the numbers for every other movie that Warner Brothers and HBO Max has done 3 days after it's come out? Literally every movie since they've been out on HBO Max, other than the Snyder Cut. That's the only movie that hasn't had its numbers released.
You know why?
Yeah.
Because they don't want to. They don't want to admit they're wrong. They don't want to admit they fucked up.
You want to know why? It's because they haven't. You're still talking about it, and you're still talking about Warner Brothers, and it's keeping them relevant.
Yeah, it is, but it's not a good relevant though.
No, it's not, but it's still relevant, and they don't care. They absolutely
that's the thing.
care.
No publicity is bad publicity.
They know they're the villains. They know they fucked up. They know that they're the villains of the DC universe, and they just want to keep you talking about it. So the more you cry for it, the more fans cry about not having the Ayer cut or not having the Snyderverse. They're just like, oh yes, feed us views, feed us trends. Like, you're gonna keep watching this shit anyway, so we're just gonna pump out whatever the hell we want.
That's the thing, right? Is that, like, and like you just said right there, we're still gonna watch this shit. There's no Snyder fan is like, I'm gonna stop watching DC because they're not gonna release the Justice League 2.
Exactly.
We're still going to watch all the other DC stuff. We just want Justice League 2.
Yeah, well, we're probably not gonna get it.
Oh no,
that's the thing.
Part of it. We're not fucking getting it. Like, they're gonna make sure that never fucking happens. Yeah. But, like, that's the thing. So, like, when you say just get over it for the Snyder stuff, no. No, we won't. Because why should we? Why should we have to get over a visionary director's cut, which is 10 times better than the original? And recently it came out when they showed this the Suicide Squad and then the Studio Squad movie, it was both things of the film and just went both things. Like I want to see the director's visions. I didn't get David Ayers. I didn't want David Ayers as the director of Suicide Squad to then see the executive's version of Suicide Squad. That'd be like saying when James Gunn came on to do the movie, I see Zack Snyder's version of the Suicide Squad because he's the executive producer.
Here's the thing. This has been happening for I don't know how long. It has happened with every single studio. It's not just Warner Brothers that does it. It's every single major studio. Basically, aside from Marvel, because Marvel is just like, okay, yeah, you guys do your thing. Just fit it into this puzzle and we're good. Every other studio has been doing this for years.
Well, yeah, but the difference is now always that we have a voice.
But do we really? That's the thing. Is like, do we really actually have? So hang on. Let me finish this thought. How many months have we been clamoring for an Ayer cut of Suicide Squad? How many months have we been asking for the numbers for Justice League?
Since Justice League came out and 3 days after they didn't, and the Ayer cut basically has been since Justice League.
Right. And how long did it take us to officially get the?
It was years. What's your point? We got it. It happened. You can't say that like it doesn't happen. It happened. We have the Snyder cut. It doesn't matter how long it took us. We have it. And guess what? It is better.
It's literally the studio giving you crumbs. It's literally the studio giving you crumbs to keep you talking about them. And the problem is fanboys are feeding into it.
But guess what though?
My whole point is not get over it, because that's a blanket statement and it's dumb. It's
Jagger doesn't want Warner Brothers to win. Basically, you're feeding into it.
I want Warner Brothers to crash and burn. I want them to go bankrupt. I want them to declare bankruptcy, and I want somebody else to buy the studio, buy the rights to that shit, and then we actually get the movies that we want. But the problem is because people are still feeding into the shit, and they're gonna watch the shit anyway.
Well,
Warner Brothers will always win no matter what.
Here's my thing, okay? Well, here's my final point on this, okay? Let's say we get the Ayer cut. What's the next cut that we get?
There probably isn't one.
Oh, exactly. Because those are the only two films that they have acknowledged that they fucked up and that they destroyed simply because of the critics.
So answer me this. If you get the Ayer cut, what does it change?
What does it change?
What do we get after that? What do we get after the Ayer cut? Are we actually going to get Justice League 2? No.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't. See, that's the thing. It doesn't, like, this goes on with the whole thing of, like, it doesn't need to be in the same universe. It doesn't matter. We have David Ayer's original vision for his movie. That is what we get. And that is worth 10 times more than anything else. Getting the original director's version of his movie, not the version that he wanted that then the studio fucking destroyed. Because the studio completely destroyed his vision. And you can see it, he's said it, other people have said it, the actors themselves have said it. So that's the thing. Getting David Ayer's version of the Suicide Squad, when we get that, we're getting his version. We're getting his vision, not someone else's vision. It would be like getting, you know, oh, here's the version of the Titanic, and then you go and watch it, and it's in a kiddie pool with a bunch of kids playing it because that's what the executives wanted instead. That's not the version of the Titanic that you wanted to see.
A little,
right?
It's a little reaching, but
it is. But it's still the same.
I kind of want to see a version of the Titanic that takes place in a kiddie pool.
Right? That's because you're a Marvel fan.
Oh shit! Shots fired.
You know, but that's my thing. Is that it's the fact of like, if you bring on a director to do this movie, that's the vision, that's the movie. It's not that you bring it on and then you see it and you go, nah, you know what, that's not what I want, completely change it. And that's the whole thing behind this, is that it's not going to change anything in the DCU. I'll fucking admit it won't change anything. But what does it do? It gives us a peace of mind and shows us this is what his version was. And then when you see it and you go, huh, his version was 10 times better than that one, like what we saw with the Snyder cut, then eyes start getting opened, and that's when shit starts getting changed. Because yes, even though no bad publicity, like no publicity is bad publicity, been a lot of bad publicity and not a lot of good publicity. The Suicide Squad, this great movie that we're talking about, it's doing worse than Mortal Kombat did opening weekend.
I mean, being honest, I'm not losing sleep over the Ayer cut.
Well,
I
that's the
wasn't
thing.
losing sleep over the Snyder cut. Like it didn't.
That's the thing.
For me, it didn't make a
But
difference
see,
whether we got him or not.
that's the thing of you saying saying the whole stretching and going overboard. No one's losing sleep over this, but it's one of those things.
Right.
Do I want to see the director's version of his movie? Yes. Why is that? Okay, then that's fine.
Way.
Then that's fine. Then.
Either way,
I mean,
I don't know. I think it's just.
Well, no, I mean,
I think
what you're saying is you don't give a shit about the actual movie. Then that's what you're saying.
No,
that is because the director's version of the movie is the version of the movie. You're saying then you don't care as long as you get a movie. That's what you just said.
That's not what I said.
Yes, it is.
You're twisting my words.
No, because you just said you said that you couldn't care less to get his version of his movie.
At this point,
it doesn't matter if it's this point, next point, 2 years, 20 years, when I'm fucking dead.
You want to let me finish my point here?
No, because David Ayer's version of his movie, we get to it should be there.
We're literally
tell me one reason why. Tell me no, it isn't. Tell me one reason why we shouldn't have his version of his movie.
Since fucking March, I'm sick of hearing about it. Move on. We're getting more shit. We're getting more movies. You're gonna watch them anyway.
So why can't we have the Ayer cut along with these other movies?
Because they don't want to admit that they're wrong. It doesn't matter whether they release it or not. You're still gonna talk about it.
I don't give a fuck. Yes, I'm gonna talk about it. I'll talk about this when I'm fucking dying on my deathbed if I don't have it. You know why? Because it's his version. It's his vision. We should have it. End of story.
And you're not gonna get it because Warner Brothers won't let you have it.
Then guess no matter how much talking about this on my deathbed. We're going to get it because this is the same conversation I had with John for the last 5 years with the Snyder Cut. Is we're not gonna get it. It's not real. It doesn't exist. There's not anything here. There's not this. There's not that. Fuck everyone that said it. Fuck everyone that thinks we don't get these things. We got it. It was better. Get over
it. Yes.
Wow. This is spicy.
I'm just saying, like, it makes no sense to me why people don't want the original director's version of their movie when we physically know that it got fucked with. If you told me right now there was a version of Casablanca that had 10 extra minutes of just dialogue.
Casablanca?
And it's hidden in some fucking archive.
You want to talk about movies that no one gives a shit about. Like,
yes, but guess what though?
Come on, that's a classic.
This is the thing though, right?
My point right there.
That's fine. I can prove your point. You know what? You're proving my point. You don't care about their original vision then. Because that's his original vision. If that 10 minutes is vital to the original version of Casablanca, why can't we have it?
Let's add 10 minutes to a 5-hour movie already.
Yeah,
sure.
fuck it, why not, right?
Oh,
Snyder added 3 hours to the Justice League. Fucking let's add 10 minutes to a 5-minute movie. Fuck it.
Wow.
You know? All right, back to the Suicide Squad.
All right, yeah, let's get back. Let's get back. So we got on a wild tangent there, and I absolutely love that. That's gonna be gold for Instagram. But back to the Suicide Squad. Your overall opinions on the movie. I know we touched on a lot of stuff that we didn't like, but we also mentioned that there was a lot that we did like. So Husky, let's start with you.
The characters were really good. The characters that like outside of the 10-minute explosion of the beginning of the movie where they just kill a bunch of people for no reason. The characters were really good. Ratcatcher was a very good character, and it was one of the things I talked about recently with someone else where, like, I've always said DC is dark, right? DC does best when they play in their field, and their field is dark, and then they add their little spruces to stuff, right? Mm-hmm. With this one, and when I first watched it, it was weird because I didn't get a dark feel, like, at all, right? Mm-hmm. What I did get, though, on a second watch, was the fact of each character kind of having their own darkness. And it was a weird thing because I wasn't ready for that, right? Because like I said, DC is built on the underlying dark tone of a movie, and then you add your little spices in there. With this movie, it was like there was no undertone of anything really, but then Bloodsport kind of has this little weird dark, kind of moment with his daughter at the beginning. Then you get Ratcatcher with her dark, and then you get Polka Dot Man with his dark, and then King Shark his hand, nom nom,
Hey, King Shark has no friends.
I mean, yeah,
I felt so bad for him.
I felt so bad. I was just like, I want to go up and give him a hug. Oh man.
that was kind of my thing with it. Is like I felt like each character was more unique. It felt like than like I would say with the original Suicide Squad. With the original Suicide Squad, it felt like they just kind of barely introduced the characters and then said, "Okay, here, now go on the mission."
Yeah,
right?
I feel that way.
The only person we got a backstory on really was Diablo, and then they were just like
Diablo, yeah.
By the way,
and then
he's out.
And then Deadshot as well a little bit, right at the very beginning with but like like with this one though, each character kind of had their moment of like, this is my past, and even though it was very quick with a lot of them, it still set the tone for the character and set the tone for what was going on, right? So I like that was my biggest thing. And like at the end of this, I have two things that I do want to kind of throw out there at the end of this that I'm saving because I don't think either one of you guys heard me talk about these yet. So, but like that was my biggest thing because like Bloodsport, I loved Bloodsport. I love Idris Elba anyway, but the character of Bloodsport, I loved. The only thing that I thought was a little over the top for me was some of the ways that his weapons looked.
Okay, yeah,
that was the only
that
was the only thing. Ratcatcher, I was like, okay, this is just kind of weird. Is it's weird. But then like in the movie, I'm like, all right, Ratcatcher's cool. Like I fuck with Ratcatcher. Polka Dot Man, we already fucking simped over. King Shark was a weird one because it's just there's so many different versions of King Shark, and just like I've said it, I said it once, I'm gonna say it again, and I mean it and I don't mean it. It felt like King Shark was put in there to sell merchandise, and that was really it.
He was the Groot of the movie.
And like, I hate to say it, God, it did feel like it at times.
Yeah.
But like I think that like Rick Flag, we saw a little bit more emotion out of Rick Flag, which I think is good because, like I said, the original one was setting up the Suicide Squad. So Rick Flag is that's the original. Okay, here's your squad. You have to now deal with this after dealing with just nothing but military people, right?
Right.
And then we get this movie that's set in the future. We don't know how much further in the future. We don't know how many more missions they've gone on. So of course he's going to be a little bit more at ease and a little bit more, kind of like in his groove and like, it's like TDK, do your thing. And then it's like, yeah, that fucking don't ask, just like, sorry, like, right. It's like you have like you have some of these things where like these moments where these characters were really shining, and that was my biggest thing. Was like my biggest takeaway, my biggest positive for this movie was some of the characters. And like really, my three big takeaways was Bloodsport, Ratcatcher, and Polka Dot Man. In my opinion, those are the three main takeaways, positives of the entire movie.
Yeah. Jagger, what about you?
Well, so the risk of being yelled at. My two favorite parts of the movie were, so I have three favorite characters in the movie. I loved Ratcatcher, Bloodsport, and I loved King Shark because this is the first time since the Harley Quinn animated series where we get a more shark accurate King Shark.
Yeah.
Most of the time, like when you look at the Arrowverse King Shark, he's
that's
big buff,
giggling.
aggressive.
Yeah.
He's a big buff, aggressive, and that's the thing. It's like Shark's eyes aren't like that.
Well, that's
from the Arrowverse.
I'm sorry, I'm thinking back to a TikTok I saw this morning where like a guy said that he's like, why the fuck is King Shark in almost everything like half man then a shark head? And then he goes to the Assault on Arkham movie where like can you call that a shark? Like
yeah, exactly. He looks like a future Robo thing, and it kills me because I think I saw the same TikTok, and he actually compares the similarities to like Nanawe's shape, how his eyes are, his expressions, he can convey emotion. And I like the fact that this is kind of setting up King Shark for something in the future, and that's my opinion on it. I don't think he was just thrown in for merchandise. I think I do think James Gunn used him as sort of like his Groot type character.
That's kind of more what I was getting at. Just kind of I feel like that you could have. I mean, I don't know who, mind you, if I had to think about it, and actually if you give me some time to think about it, probably come up with like 5 more characters that could have done the same thing basically in the movie. But like the fact that they did King Shark, it was a name that was originally going to be in the first one, but Ayer wanted to keep things more how the hell did he word it? It wasn't realistic, but it was grounded. Basically realistic. Yeah, more grounded, kind of more you could like King Shark was, I mean not King Shark, Killer Croc was like at the beginning of his transformation, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Like that sort of thing. Like that was more like because it was between Killer Croc and King Shark, and he couldn't find a way to do King Shark like that, so he brought it back. So I think that's another reason why James Gunn used that character, is because it was going to be one in the original, but then, and like I said, I don't have any problem with the character. I just, you know, like it's just it's just stupid, but in a good way.
No, I love
Fake
him.
mustache.
That's-
Like I said, if he
I
would
would
have
have
just said,
chosen.
if he
I
would
would
have
have
just
chosen a
said
different
King
voice
Shark
actor
is a-
though.
well, that's the thing. Is like
Yeah, that was an
Stallone
interesting
just,
choice.
like, see, I'm always like, no matter what. I know this is gonna go. You know, I'm bringing it back to Snyder. I'm not trying to, but no matter what, I'm always gonna love the fact that he brought in a voice. He brought in an actual voice actor to do a voice actor role
Mhm.
in Darkseid. You know, Ray Porter does nothing but audiobook stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he has a few TV cameos on like Sons of Anarchy and a couple other things.
Right.
But like the main thing that he's known for is audiobooks, right? So he's known for his voice. And I don't understand why directors or people, or whoever it is that does the casting for this stuff, why they don't do that more for characters that are CGI that aren't, you know, because like, yeah, getting Stallone to do that was just kind of like if you wouldn't have told me that was Stallone, I wouldn't have fucking known.
Yeah.
Oh, and that was just like with Groot. A lot of people didn't know that it was Vin Diesel until the movie came out.
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
like it's almost that thing of like it's the giving the movie more firepower through the names of the people. But
Yeah.
no, I agree.
So-
I mean, like, yeah, I'm on your side. I'm on your side with this one.
So overall, on opinion on the movie, if I were to score it out of 10, I would give it a 7.5
Oh.
because as enjoyable as it was, it did just kind of feel like a slapped together DC version of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
And I was kind of hoping that it wasn't going to be that. It kind of felt like James Gunn just took Guardians 2 and threw it together with Deadpool 2, mixed it up, and threw it at a wall, and picked the parts that he liked.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the story as a whole, bringing in a couple like oddball characters, like Star the Conqueror, like who would have thought that one?
Yeah.
Bringing in Ratcatcher 2 and not the original Ratcatcher, and like Polka Dot Man and all these other characters that nobody really knows about unless they've read the comics or they've seen a lot of the weird like underground shows and shit like that you wouldn't know who they are.
And I
like that they brought light to some of those other characters. So the only thing, my biggest drawback for the film, and this one may be controversial because it's going to go into our last topic, I could have done that entire movie without John Cena.
100%.
No.
I
Yeah.
hated his character. I hated his character. I hated his acting. I do not think he was a worthwhile addition to this film.
I said a lot of the scenes are his scenes, but I said to Xander, there was a lot of scenes in the movie that the character acts drastically different than the very quick scene that they show in the trailer. And
Yes.
John Cena's was one of them. His character acts at points in the movie a lot darker, a lot more serious, a lot more just kind of, you can tell that he has a fucked up past than the goofy, you know, I'll eat this entire island full of dicks. I'll eat all of them, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that,
We didn't need that.
and that's part of it. Like, the dialogue, some of it just felt like, you know, it's like, okay, well, this is what I would say in Guardians of the Galaxy, but now that it's R-rated, let's have him say this instead.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like my biggest problem with Peacemaker as a character is like as soon as he came on, as soon as they were in the mission debriefing, I literally sat back and said, this is going to be the man that fucks up the mission at the very end if he doesn't die from stupidity before that. And sure enough, that's exactly what fucking happens.
So
Yeah.
here-
And then immediately after I watched the film, I find that he's getting a spin-off series. Like, why give us a Peacemaker
Okay.
series
see things now.
when we could easily get a Bloodsport series?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like,
I would
Bloodsport
absolutely
was
love that.
So much more of an in-depth
So-
character. He has so much more expansion range, and I would love
All right,
to see
so
it.
I got 3 questions for you, Jack. Okay,
Okay.
now that I think about it. Okay, the first one, what did you think of Bell Rev as a whole?
Yeah.
I know it's a very quick thing, but what did you think of them going from, pardon me, going from Bell Rev being kind of like its own unique identity and it being, its own kind of monster to just a basic jail. Because that irked me the wrong way. I know it's a very small little thing, but to me,
it's a very small detail. So I think the main difference here is that James Gunn doesn't really take the time to create and turn his scenes, like his settings, into characters.
Yeah.
Whereas someone like David Ayer did. He made it a point that this was a supermax prison and like no one's getting out unless I say so. We have different cells for different people and things like that. Whereas in this film as a whole, tone-wise and pacing-wise, if they had taken that time, the movie would have felt too sluggish. It would have lost its feel. It would have lost its appeal.
I can agree with that now thinking about
I feel like Bellrave is that like supermax monster of a prison. Like they made hints at it, but James Gunn didn't take the time to be like,
actually
give us the whole synopsis breakdown. Like Bellrave, it's here. This many prisoners. Like we didn't need the stats on Bellrave. It wasn't pertinent to the film.
It was weird just seeing, it's like, I think about it and it's like Harley has her own unique special, kind of like jungle gym sort of thing.
Yeah.
And Killer Shark, Killer Croc, Shark, Jesus. Killer Croc has his own unique, kind of underground thing. Diablo's in a fucking like tube,
he's in an incinerator.
And then it's like, they're just walking down and, it's like, oh yeah, there's Killer Croc sitting on a bench. There's Ratcatcher in her own, cell in a girl's war. It felt very I said to Xander, lazy. But I mean, I do understand though now what you're saying about like with the pacing and everything. In order to make it unique, would have made it a little bit sluggish.
I would argue the fact that there are like small hints to potential like specialized cells and stuff like that, because we start out with Savant in a separate area, and then you see Weasel in his cells like encased in glass. So there's kind of a touch there, but I agree that there could have been more kind of going in the background to kind of be like, no, these are specialized cells for these people because reasons.
So my other point for that one is like we're still trying to figure out where this fits in the timeline. We obviously know that this is farther down.
That's one of the things that Xander brought up, was that maybe there was like cuttings of funds, or so it's not the super max jail that it was. Now it is.
So here's my thought. We never see where Harley's being kept. Our first introduction to Harley is her hopping on the plane.
Yeah.
So like I'm thinking that this supermax side of Bellrave exists. They just didn't show all of it. They showed Savant's cell. You saw Polka Dot Man with an entire power dampener around his neck. Weasel's in his own separate thing. But like, if you think about it, why would they put basic ass kind of throwaway villains like Javelin and Ratcatcher 2? Why would they put them in supermax cells? Those are definitely more like Gen Pop, like Iron Heights prison type prisoners. Whereas they would have specialized cells for people like Killer Croc or Deathstroke or something like that. But those characters weren't in the movie, so we don't see that because it's not important.
That is true.
And we also do kind of walk into somewhat of a specialized cell for Killer Shark. Or
King Shark.
Yeah. King Shark.
Yes. Exactly.
Husky got me messed up on the name too.
All right.
All right, so your other two questions?
I forgot what the second one was. The third one, how do you feel about Waller not murdering and killing everyone that was a part of the coup at the end of the movie?
Oh my god.
Because
I was expecting that.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the movie, them showing up and being like, oh, Waller put us on this duty. I'm sitting there like, no, you two are dead.
Yeah.
You two would be dead. Everyone in that room is dead. All of them are dead.
Yeah, they made Waller less of a monster, which I both agree and don't agree with at the same time. I think if they had made her the monster murder machine that she is in the comics, she would have lost. Viola Davis would have lost her appeal as an actress.
At least they should have shown some sort of repercussion for the one that hit her.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. At least like have, I don't know, like have something like I'm sending you on out in the field or something like that to oversee something, and then next thing you know, she gets blown up.
I don't know. I just like it felt like, and I get what you're saying about with the appeal of her. It's just like knowing the character and literally seeing her just, and goes back to the first one, but still it's that character, her murder an entire room of people because, hey, they witnessed her say, well, fuck it, fuck them, we're leaving. That's all she said. And then she kills all of them.
Yeah.
If you're gonna going from that level to I'm gonna hit you in the back of the head with a fucking golf club.
So my other thought for this one is that because they're setting up the Peacemaker TV show, we know that Viola Davis is going to reprise as Amanda Waller. We know she's going to be the DC Extended Universe version of Amanda Waller, which is a far cry better than what we got in the Arrowverse, for sure. I can't stand 100%. That actress at all. I think they're sort of setting Viola Davis as Amanda Waller up to be more of the long game revenge. Okay. So I'm thinking maybe if something were to play out from it, it's going to be shown and possibly used as a plot device to set up the Peacemaker spinoff. Like the people who were part of the coup have to deal with Peacemaker and they have to clean up his messes. Like if he goes off the rails, they're the ones that have to deal with it. It's a lot of shit they've got to deal with because Peacemaker's gonna go off the rails.
And as I just texted you, last one. What did you think of the inclusion of the Thinker?
Absolutely ludicrous.
I was gonna
ludicrous
touch on that too.
As in a good thing, or ludicrous as in why the fuck did they do this?
As in why the fuck did they do this?
Okay,
yeah. They could
that was the exact same thing that I said.
So and the thing is like we don't know what version of the Thinker it is. They just say he's the Thinker. Is this Clifford DeVoe? Like serial mastermind Clifford DeVoe? No, it's definitely not.
No, they named him Gaius Greaves.
Yeah, so why call him the Thinker? Why tarnish the name of the great Clifford DeVoe with something so idiotic?
And this kind of always brings me back to the main problem with DC, right? Is with Guardians, you can throw out all of these random ass characters because 90% of people don't know who the fuck they are.
Right.
But with DC having been in movies and I think even in the comics longer, I could be wrong about that one, but I know movies and TV shows have been doing a lot more stuff than Marvel has, longer than Marvel has. These characters aren't just like, even though like, yes, the Thinker is kind of a, it's one of the side characters of the Flash. No side villains. Boomer, kind of a side character, but like they have a like that's a name to us. That's not just a throwaway fucking character anymore. Right. So like when they said that was one of the first things I said to Xandr was that like if you told me that was just some Nazi scientist, for instance, would have been the exact same ending of the movie. Everything would have played out the same. Like
they could have entirely left him out. Like just his character as a whole. He could have easily done one of the military men. It could have been one of the scientists that were working on Project Starfish. Like it could have been anybody.
And I think the only reason that they kind of like went with like the Thinker in an aspect was like kind of like the only person that could communicate with Starro, which I mean that's just kind of dumb.
No, because Starro communicates via his hosts.
Yeah.
So that completely blows that theory out of the water right off the jump. All he has to do is create a host and
it goes back to the very first thing we saying with James Gunn, where a lot of the characters, as we found out now, he basically has come out and said, I put him in there because, and then there's no real reason.
Yeah.
And the Thinker is one of the ones for me that is that, because you had a great actor in Doctor Who.
Yeah.
And he's yes, thank you. I couldn't think of how to say his last name.
Doctor Who.
I was gonna say just Peter, but
Peter.
But it felt like yet again just another character that was thrown in there just because why the fuck not,
I will say Peter Capaldi as a Thinker, like I did enjoy the character on its own, but as far as like for the movie, I did not care for his addition.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see him, kind of, and it's like I said, it's always that thing of going back against, him versus the villain, or him versus the hero, or the hero versus the villain, and like I could see him going up against Flash.
Yeah, I will
like
say
as an early
line, I could not help but laugh at that line where Ratcatcher is like, "Do you want 1,000 rats up your anus?" or something like that, and he's like, and he says, "Honestly, the answer might shock you." What the fuck?
I don't know. I honestly hated his character design. I think he looked absolutely ridiculous.
It was.
I mean, how do you make the Thinker look good though? Like,
I will say this. I will argue this for a while. I think that the Flash TV show did a very good job of making the Thinker look kind of intimidating and scary.
Yes, I agree.
You know, this was
That's
literally
a
just
Thinker.
it was a bold dude with a bunch of shit just jabbed into his fucking head, like, you know.
Yeah, I don't know. It felt half-assed and lazy to me, and I think if you're gonna do somebody like the Thinker, don't do it half-assed.
Yeah. Okay, so Xander, what did you think? What are your final kind of thoughts?
Your final rating out of 10.
real quick, I just wanted to refresh my memory on the Arrowverse, Clifford DeVoe, and Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is,
bro, like,
that is
so
daunting.
that was one of the first non-speedster villains, and arguably one of the better villains that they've done.
Wasn't that
And
like season 2 or 3?
No, that was 4.
Season 4.
Yeah, 4. Because 3, yeah,
okay.
3 was Savitar, 4 was Zoom, 2 was Zoom. Which also,
okay.
real quick side note, Jagger, why didn't they just fucking do Future Flash in season 3 and not Savitar? Because as soon as they said Savitar, I got so fucking excited when they said Savitar, bro.
Me and Coop could debate this for hours. Like, me and Coop have sat here and talked about all the ways that we would fix the Flash TV show, and just up and doing Future Flash would have been it. Like, off the jump. But
I needed to get it out. Just needed to get it out.
Yeah. Be careful. You might summon him. Coop may like run in here and be like, "Y'all talking about Blue Flash?"
I'm like half expecting him to pop out behind your threshold behind you.
No.
Like he just drives on over. He's like,
Want to say Flash?
Y'all say Future Flash. But anyway, no. My overall thoughts on the movie, I would say I'd give it about a solid 6.5. Because it was enjoyable. I watched it twice, still enjoyed it. Granted, the second time I watched it, I had a couple drinks and I laughed a little bit more the second time. But yeah, it was enjoyable. I mean, my wife enjoyed it, so there's that. It's you can't disagree that it's not an enjoyable movie. It's just that is what it is. But coming from a comic book standpoint, I do feel that it lacked a lot. There's a lot left to be desired as far as like certain characters, and it did feel like a lot of stuff was just thrown in there just for namesake and just to draw the crowd, honestly. But overall, it was enjoyable. I say thumbs up with 2 beers.
Thumbs up with 2 beers. I need some sort of rating system like that every single time you do a movie now.
Yes. How many beers?
So I have two things that I've recently been thinking about since this movie came out and since some things have come out that I don't think I've said them out loud yet. So this is gonna be the first time I say them out loud. Okay. So the first one is that apparently there was kind of talks, or Idris Elba wants to do a prequel to the Suicide Squad where it shows him versus Superman.
Yeah, I heard about that.
To which my response is, why not have that be the first opening 10 minutes of Man of Tomorrow? Sequels to the Superman movie. The first 10 minutes, do it in 10, 15, 20, however long you want to do it. Do it in the same vein as the Krypton scene, or as Batfleck running through Metropolis, right? Do it like that so you can set the movie up, because then you can set the movie up as Superman now throughout the movie thinking, well, maybe I'm not indestructible because I thought Bruce was the only one that had kryptonite.
Right.
How the fuck did Bloodshot get kryptonite? And it allows Bloodshot to be in the movie and makes him a viable threat. We can actually show that scene, because let's be honest, that scene would be pretty fucking cool to see, right? And it would allow us to kind of have the rest of the movie go there. Because let's, for instance, say we do the Lex Luthor becoming president story arc, and you have that being the main thing, and him saying, Superman can't save you. He was put in the ICU from a regular bullet. Right? Say he just says some bullshit like that, right? And then he uses that as his way to kind of turn to get the presidency, and then have Bloodshot be the villain throughout the entire, have him be kind of the side villain, because DC likes to do one main and one side, right? Luthor kind of pulling the strings, but being more Luthor, and then at the end of the movie, we get the actual scene that we all wanted to see, which is Luthor in his suit versus Superman.
That'd be pretty sick.
because there was a toy that was released for BVS that was Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor in a Kryptonian suit that's been modified and painted the colors of like his suit. So now imagine that for the movie, because then you can have the Lex Luthor becoming president story arc, which is one of the better DC villain story arcs there are. Superman now having the thing of like, you know, I didn't realize that more people have kryptonite. Can I really do this? The people are still against me. I gotta, you know, I've already come back from the fucking dead once, you know, like all of this stuff. And you also get to include Idris Elba's Bloodsport and show that whole sequence.
That'd be pretty cool.
So that's my first thought.
And I do want to see more Idris Elba Bloodsport. Like, let's be honest. Like, that'd be dope.
Right, and also, I mean, like, let's be honest. Idris Elba and Henry Cavill on the screen at the same time. Like,
oh yeah.
The
My wife would
internet
have a field day.
explode.
exactly, right? So that's my first one, okay? My second one is a lot more out there. A lot more never gonna happen. But as soon as I start explaining it, I think I'll have you guys on board.
Okay. Okay. I'm listening.
So one of the first things that James Gunn apparently was either offered or thought about doing was either Justice League versus Suicide Squad or Suicide Squad versus Superman.
Yeah, I heard about that one too.
So what if we go into the future, into the nightmare sequence?
Oh.
And this is Batman's this is his last, you know, his last thing. The Suicide Squad's going on their final mission to go take out Superman.
So Suicide Squad led by Batman.
No, so Batman basically being Waller at this point. There's no bombs in the neck because it's the end of the fucking world. Like if they run off, they're gonna get killed anyway. This is just literally save the world. So like it's, you know, that sort of thing, right? So then you bring back Deadshot, because we knew Deadshot was supposed to be in the original Zack Snyder end sequence in the Nightmare sequence, but he was doing something else. So they had to bring in Joe Manganiello, right? Deathstroke's a part of it. You have Bloodshot in it. You have Harley in it. You have bring King Shark in it, and now King Shark can have like a robot fucking arm, or, you know, like a robot mouth, or, you know, he's all fucked up, right? You can bring in a bunch of these fucking characters because it is the Nightmare sequence. Now we're, you know, kind of in, you know, in no man's land. All these characters are there, and this is this is it. It's like this is your guys' kind of final mission. You guys have to go kill Superman, and have it be like literally the final Suicide Squad, right? Because in the Nightmare sequence, we see Batman, Cyborg, Mira, Deathstroke, Joker, Flash, right? They're just kind of walking somewhere. We don't know where they're walking, right? What if they get confirmation that the final Suicide Squad didn't work? Like that mission didn't work. So now Plan B failed. So now it's time for Plan A. And Plan A is they go do it.
That'd be interesting.
Because you have the sequence of Joker saying, you know, like, you know, in how many realities do you need to not be the pussy and go, you know, and like go sacrifice yourself, sort of thing, right?
I feel like that's paraphrased, but
yeah, he says something along those lines. I don't fully remember, but it's something along those lines, right? Because then then we can have this sequence of, you know, kind of the squad, kind of, you know, one last hurrah sort of thing. You get to see them versus evil Superman and Parademons, which, let's be honest, that'd be a fucking spectacle to see and a half.
Yeah.
Right. And it would be, you know, it would kind of like, I think that would be a great way to kind of merge the two a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, plus also I for me, like I said, I kind of like seeing everything, you know, and it's the MCU part of it. This, you know, changed everyone's mind. Everyone kind of wants to see everything, you know, relate to everything, right?
Yeah.
Like that is in itself, it ties it to the Nightmare sequence. It ties it to the future. It ties it to all this, but it allows you to literally be able to say, like, now, like, okay, now you can kill off these characters. Because, like, let's also say, for instance, right, like, let's say Superman gets like close to Bloodsport, right? And like Bloodsport's the last one. Harley's bleeding out, you know, and Bloodsport says to him, you know, it's like, remember when I shot you? And Superman's like, yeah. And he's like, well, how about this? And he fucking blows himself up. Kryptonite, boom, shatters into him, right? They go to retrieve whoever's left of the Suicide Squad, thinking they killed Superman, right? And then that's the scene now where Harley's killed. Because Zack said that he always wanted to show that scene of Harley dying. And that being an emotional sequence. And Batman says, you know, as Harley was dying, bleeding, dying in my arms, now we have that visual, which brings back kind of the death in the family sort of visual, but in this sort of timeline, you know, I think that there's the amount of things that you could do with that sort of, you know, of course I don't know how to fully make it all work, but the idea connecting the two, one kind of final, like yes, all these other ones were Suicide Squad missions, right? Like, yeah, we were gonna go, you know, yeah, we might die. This one is like the suicide mission. Like, you're going to die most likely because it is Superman. You know it's Superman. You've seen him before. Some of you have fought him before. You know, now he has parademons on his side. And in this movie, you literally get to kill all of them. And you can do it in the most glorious way that makes them fucking... You know, it's not just being squished by Starro.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace, Polka Dot Man. That was my second thought. Like I said, I wanted to get those two out and let you guys and see what you guys thought with those.
I think it'd be interesting to see that, honestly. Will it ever happen? Probably not.
Yeah, no, like I said,
it is.
Like, you know, like I said, you know, idea, I think it's great. Possibility of it happening?
Yeah, so it's a great idea. Step 1, wrestle control away from Warner Brothers. Step 2, sign on people who will actually get the job done. And step 3, pray.
I mean, like I just because like I like I said, I'm a sucker for certain images and certain scenes. Harley dying in Bruce's arms, ever since that was said in the Snyder Cut, that's a scene now that I want to see.
Yeah.
Because it's one of those things where we're all attached. You know, I think after that sequence there, that nightmare sequence, when this is the thing a lot of people don't know, Ben came back to film all those scenes. That's why he looks smaller. The way that he kind of acts and portrays himself, and that interaction with the Joker there adds a whole new level to that character. Now adding that, but with Margot Robbie in an emotional, like, you know, I did good, right, Bats?
Oh shit. Okay. You got me on that one.
Right? Like, it's just like
I kind of like that idea.
It brings around the whole thing of, you know, this, like, the idea of the Suicide Squad is that we're gonna take these bad guys, we're gonna take these villains, we're gonna jack them up with a bomb in the back of the head, and if they don't do the job, we're gonna kill them. And it takes that and flips it on its head, because it's like, look, you guys have done this for a living. We haven't. You guys have done this for a living. We need you to do it one last time with no bombs. And fuck it, even have characters walk out. Have there be like a character and that's like, fuck it, I'm gonna go risk it on my own. But to me, the idea of having Bloodshot, Deadshot, Bloodsport, Deadshot, Quinn, Shark, I mean, fuck, throw Deathstroke in there for the beginning part of it and then have him come back or something, you know? Just having that image going off and fighting parademons.
Yeah. Also, that actually jogged my memory real quick, because I remember watching Suicide Squad the second time over. I actually picked up on something that I actually really enjoyed, and it was actually with Harley Quinn. Because, you know, we all know that the original story of Harley Quinn, she was the Joker's psychiatrist. So she is smart. She is very smart. And one thing that I thought was really cool to see was kind of play on the psyche and stuff like that. So when she killed President Luna, and she mentioned you look prettier this way, it kind of made me think of like that could be like her like MO moving forward. Like she kind of like an anti-hero kind of sort of thing, where she mainly kills other bad guys that are actually like really bad. But when she mentions that like you look prettier this way, it played up on the Harley vision, as Husky called it, where like maybe she imagines like flowers coming out of him at that point. But the fact that it plays on, like, you know, the red flags, like you killing children, blah 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 blah, I thought that was kind of like a cool idea, to where, like, I don't know, it was. I also had, like I said, I had a couple drinks, but I thought it was really cool, you know.
I mean, I feel like they've done a very good job with making Harley quirky violent in her own unique way and everything, and also making the whole smart thing, because she has like that one line in Birds of Prey when they're like getting suited up, and she says, she rambles on a bunch of like philosophical things, and then she goes, "Ooh, I think I have a baseball bat somewhere around here," or something like that, right? Like she she quickly hits it and then goes back to being herself. And I think that it's a good trait of hers, where she like kind of goes into this really super serious, I'm wicked fucking smart, and then she's immediately right back to kind of being herself.
Yeah, and that's something I would love to see in the future. If I hadn't read that Margot Robbie mentioned that she would like to take a break from playing Harley Quinn for a little bit.
I did not hear that, and I'm upset.
Yeah,
the one thing I've heard is that, I know why she's doing that now. God damn it, fucking Warner Brothers.
Oh no.
She has been apparently begging Warner Brothers for years now to include Poison Ivy live action and have them be like on-screen kind of couple for a little bit.
Yeah.
She's been begging and pleading with them to do it, and if she wants to take a break from the character, that might be them. Not saying 1 + 1 = 2, but I'm also not saying 1 + 1 = 2 in this situation.
Yeah. But overall, let's get your score, Husky. What would be your overall score on the Suicide Squad?
I mean, because Jagger said it and I never thought about it, I'm gonna go 7.5. Weirdly enough, it's a good movie. It does have its flaws, and like I said, a lot of my flaws are very nitpicky. Like I said, Belle Rev not being a character, that's an extremely nitpicky thing, right? Some of the characters just being thrown in there kind of willy-nilly, kind of like, I think it was a very good movie. I think that the story could have been a little bit compressed, but overall it was enjoyable. There was moments where I did giggle, I did laugh. There was moments where I was like, this is fucking cool. Coming out of the movie, Bloodsport's the fucking man.
Yeah.
I do hate that, because they gave Gunn kind of free range to kill everyone and anyone. They did, because two of the characters I thought were, one of the characters that I thought was one of the brightest points of the movie, and then one of the characters I just personally myself love, are no longer with us. Rest in peace.
But I guess we'll see what happens with Flashpoint.
Well, that's the thing, right? Is like the Flash movie, as much of a nightmare as that also looks like. I feel like the opposite now with this movie, where it's like, yeah, I was kind of excited, to now Jagger, where it's like, I'm not excited. Like, all the stuff I hear about with the Flash movie, it just makes me more and more mad.
I feel like the Flashpoint could honestly be, if they do, I mean, it has all the red flags right now, but if they were to do Flashpoint right, they could effectively save the DCEU, I feel like. But with everything that has transpired, everything that has gone on with it, I feel like that's probably just, positive thinking.
And Jagger might be able to back me up on this one. Flashpoint arguably is one of the best DC arc stories ever.
As of late, it's kind of middle of the road.
Okay.
As of late.
Now that I just said that, 3 Jokers, fucking Dark Knights, Dark Knights Metal, yeah. Yeah, they've kind of gone, but yeah, fucking A. But Flashpoint is such a powerful story, simply because not only did they do the story of it, then they did the movie, the animated movie. They kind of did it in the TV show, but we're not going to talk about that one because, God. But then also, not only did they do the comic series of it, they also did like a spin-off of like, this is why these events happened, which I don't think a lot of people know about. There's actually like a book that shows each one of these, and each one is, I think, a fantastic read. So, like, if they were to do Flashpoint correctly, right? Holy fuck. The problem is that they're not.
Yeah. The problem is Ezra Miller's Flash isn't established enough to be able to do Flashpoint. He needs at least one movie before getting into Flashpoint, because you haven't established Eobard Thawne as even a character in this universe. and you don't have Flashpoint without Eobard Thawne.
Exactly.
You can't do it. Like it's
That's the
and if you
whole
do-
driving source of the movie.
and if you try to do it any other way, it's
And that's like the new,
it's gonna be bad.
like you've heard the new rumor, right, Jagger?
I don't know. I've heard so many rumors
It's
lately.
Flash versus Evil Flash. And Evil
Oh,
Flash is going to
God.
be Eobard Thawne, apparently. Like, like
Oh,
that's the
God.
yeah, exactly. Like, you know, you can hear it in our voices. Like, it's Flashpoint is a really it's a simple fucking movie to set up. It really is. Do one movie of the Flash by himself. Do it against. Honestly, if I were to do a Flash movie, first movie I'm doing is Flash versus the Rogue Gallery, and I'm picking two of them, and I'm picking Heatwave and Captain Cold. Because you get to introduce two main big name actors, big name characters, boom, right there, right? They're not using them in the TV show anymore, so it makes it even better. The audience already kind of knows these characters.
Yep.
Then you
And
hit
then
them with Flashpoint.
And then at the end of the first Flash movie, you introduce Eobard Thawne, and then it's like, boom, okay, you're ready for a sequel.
Yep.
You're
And the
ready to go.
beginning- And the best part is the beginning of Flashpoint is Flash versus his rogues, and it shows off at the beginning. It show like you can show it with the main two, and have him be like, "Oh, well, I've already fucking beaten you guys before," and then Boom shows up, and then Mirror Master shows up, and then Top shows up, because all you need him for is that beginning opening 10-minute sequence,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and also introducing them right there, introduces them for the future, and
Yeah.
then you get into the meat and potatoes of it. Where
And I really, I want them to do Flashpoint right for selfish reasons. I so badly want to see Jeffrey Dean Morgan as Thomas Wayne in the bat suit with the red eyes. Like I can't tell you
Yeah.
how much I fucking want that.
I want that, and I want a flashback sequence with Laura Cohen as Joker,
Yes.
Yeah.
Please.
because like you get that, you get Jason Momoa fighting Gal Gadot,
Yeah.
you get Gal Gadot killing Shazam, not adult Shazam, by the way, children Shazam.
Yep. Child's Shazam. It's
Like,
it's a dark storyline, and
It's a
they're
very
not
dark
gonna do it right.
storyline.
But it's like if you did it right, and and I'm going to preference it that way. If you did it right, there would never be an argument of what the best comic book movie was.
Also,
If you did it right,
I just want to say this right now. I would pay an exuberant amount of money to see Gal Gadot stab Amber Heard through the stomach and
Oh
take
my
her
God.
crown.
Oh yes. I
holding
think
up
I would
fucking her
pay
head.
I
oh,
think
much.
there is a whole slew of people who would agree with you on that one.
like it's
Yep.
just there's so much there you can like. You bring in
possibilities.
you bring back Eisenberg because Lex Luthor's in it for a little bit. You bring in Joe Manganiello because Deathstroke's in it. You introduce you have Orm, you have Black Manta, you have the Aqua Lad, you have fucking I can't remember the other one's name now though. You get Shazam, you get Canterbury Critic, Etrigan, Lois, Steve. Like you get the entire DC universe basically in one fucking movie. Make it 3 hours, make it 3.5 hours. Fuck, we all sat through a 4-hour Justice League. Like we'll sit through a
True.
like I would sit through a 5-hour Flashpoint movie if it was done correctly.
I'd even argue that I would be okay with a part 1, part 2 Flashpoint movie.
Yes.
I say fuck
100%.
it.
If you
Set it up like Sherlock or like Band of Brothers, where it's just like basically a series of movies, but like a mini series type deal.
It's just
Or
this-
do the Infinity War thing where like, you got the first major point, you can watch the movie on its own, it has an ending point, but you know there's more, and then
Yeah.
you do a
Well,
Flashpoint part
and-
2.
And you know what the scene is that you fucking cut it at, because it's you cut it at this scene and then you have an end scene and then that's it, and it's set. Now that I'm thinking about it, it's set perfectly. It's
Yeah.
Flash trying to get his powers.
Yep.
It's him being burned to a crisp, Batman throwing his freaking cape on him and then going dear God, and it's Ezra Miller just covered in burns. Screen goes black, credits start playing. Credits come back, and it's Aquaman talking with Valko on an Atlantean ship, and then them talking and him being like, "Is it ready?" And it's like, "Well, it will be." Good. Them turning, walking off, and then you see freaking Captain Atom in a cell, and then he looks up, and that's it. Boom.
That'd
That's
be
the
sick.
end, like the full end of the movie, because now you have the full intrigue of who the fuck is the blue dude with the red symbol? And is Flash even alive now?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That'd be sick. That would be sick.
And like that's the like if you were to do a 2-parter, that's the like just thinking about it, and like I could probably rewatch it and find 10 different fucking points. But in my mind, right this second, that's the natural fucking middle point. You cut it there because it builds the suspense, it builds the intrigue, and for me personally, and this is one I've talked about with you guys, you don't have to have the problem of like with Endgame and Infinity War, where it's like, you know, you kill off a bunch of characters, but you've already announced they're having sequels.
Yeah.
Because this is Flashpoint. This is the different universe at this point, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I really want to see that now.
Fucking smarten up these like Warner Brothers, like. God.
All right. Well, on that note, we've gone on so many tangents tonight, but all very good conversation. So with that being said, thank you for joining us today, guys. Join us next week as we break down episode 1 of Marvel's What If series, premiering tomorrow on Disney Plus, and we are going to be following that closely. Jagger, we got anything else on the schedule?
Yeah, we have. I'm doing a new sort of episode this Thursday for Cursed Tapes. We're going to be doing a tier maker listings of rating different horror movies. We're going to do the classics. We're going to do a bunch of the newer ones. We're doing different ratings for like different horror killers and things like that. It's going to be a nice little community night, fan interaction. We're going to be moving that over to my Twitch channel on Thursday night.
Awesome.
Twitch.tv/Jagger VHS, Jagger_VHS. Link will be in the description below. And then we are looking towards August 18th for the next Otaku's Anonymous episode, which is they're talking about characters we hate.
Ooh, characters we hate. That's gotta be a fun one.
That's all it says is characters we hate. And
Awesome.
I know Koopa's going to talk about Goku.
Oh boy.
I want to say one right now just to see if he watches this back to say it, to hear it. But I'm going to say Hisoka, and I'm going to say it just for one simple thing, and that's because if I have it right, he sounds French, but they play Spanish music every time he's on the screen, and it bothers the shit out of me. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Weird.
True. Oh my god.
It's like I don't. It does.
Oh man. All right, well, if there's any topics you'd like to see us cover on this channel, please leave a suggestion in the comments down below. And if you enjoy what we're doing here and want to help support, please like, share, and subscribe. But also, let us know if you enjoy watching it on YouTube, or at least the live portion on YouTube, because we are kind of juggling things, see what works best for you guys, the viewers. So if you prefer to watch us here, let us know. If you would like to see us on Twitch, again, let us know. Because we want to do this for you guys, and we want to make it as easily accessible to you guys as possible. But with that in mind, I hope you all have a great night and stay nerdy, my friends. Bye-bye.